In a recent tweet posted by Gilbert Burns, the UFC welterweight fighter appeared to be shocked by the payouts for Bellator superstars Patriciu Pitbull and AJ McKee for the recently concluded Bellator 286. Patriciu reportedly made $150,000, while McKee made roughly $100,000, for their main and co-main event duties respectively. Both fighters have emerged as two of the biggest names in the organization, rising through the ranks of the talent-stacked featherweight division. The pair were involved in two sensational fights for the Bellator Featherweight Championship, and hold one victory over each other. While UFC fighters have criticized the UFC promotion for their payment structure and policies, top-ranked welterweight contender Gilbert Burns was shocked when the top fight purses for Bellator 286 surfaced online. UFC President Dana White is currently going through a strict diet and working to improve his health situation. In a recent podcast appearance, he revealed that he was told after his blood test that he would have about 10 more years to live if he keeps living the way he's doing right now. Since then, Dana has started to improve his health and shows incredible results on his social media account. He shared this picture showing off his new physiques, and the mixed martial arts community is more than impressed with the results. UFC fighter Casey O'Neill was contacted by UFC executive regarding her online beef with Twitter troll. The promotion was not happy about Casey's plan to potentially fight the random person. While some fighters are not particularly active on social media, others like top 10 UFC flyweight O'Neill are more inclined to interact with fans. However, this recently led to an incident where she was challenged to a sparring session by a troll who made it clear that he felt capable of what he referred to as non-elite female UFC fighters. Casey revealed that she was ready to take on this man, despite having an injured ACL, but she woke up to discover a deleted Twitter account and no sign of the person. She said this: "I was fully prepared to kick his back on Tuesday, but he deleted his Twitter. Today, when I woke up, I'd seen that his account is no longer, so I don't think Casey vs. Cal is going down anymore. I do not think I'm going to be beating up the Twitter troll unless he shows up, but I highly doubt it." O'Neill then continued and explained that the whole situation began to get out of hand and gain traction outside of the world of Twitter. She added this: "We've got Barstool Sports covering it. I've got Hunter Campbell from the UFC texting me, like, 'Don't have unsanctioned fights please. I need you healthy.' Everybody taking it seriously. It's pretty funny for me though. I think people say it for attention almost. I don't know if it's like a fetish thing, like they want to get beat up by a woman or something. You have to pay me, if that's the case." American Kickboxing Academy coach Mendez claims that no one beat Khabib in a sparring session, and the only person to win rounds off of him was Islam Makhachev. The Eagle retired undefeated and was dominant in the UFC as he hadn't lost a round until he fought Conor McGregor. He had his ways with opponents, and since he retired, the attention has turned to Islam Makhachev, who's set to headline UFC 280 against Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title. Islam is the betting favorite, and many, including Khabib, have hyped him up as the next UFC champion. For Mendes, who coaches both, he says Islam is the only fighter to win rounds off of Khabib in sparring. He said this speaking with Submission Radio. In all the history, since 2012, since Khabib's been doing sparring with me in front of my eyes, there has been nobody that's ever taken a round from him. No one's ever won a sparring session. Not a sparring session with Khabib ever. Except one man, Islam, he's the only one that has won rounds from Khabib. Never won a session, but he's won rounds. And I've never seen that. So, obviously, when Khabib talks about the next heir, he's not saying something that he's trying to make up and make people believe. He knows, like I know, how good Islam is. That's why he's so confident in what he's saying. Khabib's not known to say something that he doesn't mean. And he means it, I mean it. And now it's time for Islam to go out and shine, and let everybody know what we already know, that he's the best right now. He is the best, and we have to prove it, and we will prove it. A famous UFC legend could return back to the promotion's fighting roster. The Dragon left the UFC in 2018 on a 2-fight winning streak, and signed a multi-fight deal with Bellator. The former UFC light heavyweight champion was still a top contender, and in Bellator, he went 2-4 and lost 4 straight, with his last loss coming by knockout to Fabian Edwards, in his final fight for the promotion. With him entering free agency at 44 years old, and on a 4-fight losing skid, it was uncertain where he would go. Now, his manager, Guimarães, spoke to the UFC and pitched the Dragon vs Shogun 3 at UFC 283 in Brazil, and the UFC has some interest in it. He revealed this speaking with Sherdog.com. When I heard Shogun was doing his last fight at UFC Rio, I immediately called Chief Business Officer Hunter Campbell, offering Lyoto for a trilogy. Hunter told me, they initially were planning on someone like Tyson Pedro to fight Shogun, but he liked the idea and told me he was going to talk to Dana White about it. I have no doubt the Brazilian audience would love that matchup. 2 champions, 2 legends of the sport, 1 win for each, doing their rubber match on the night of both of their retirement fights. The Dragon and Shogun first met at UFC 104 in 2009, with the Dragon winning by decision to defend his light heavyweight title for the first and only time. However, many thought Shogun won the fight, so they had an immediate rematch at UFC 113, and Shogun won by first-round knockout to become the new champ.